In this video, we'll be doing the bones of the leg, but the leg comes out of the pelvic girdle. And I have this little model to show you how the head, that's the head of the femur, we're going to look at the femur in great detail in a minute, how the head of the femur fits into the coxa. If you remember from the last video, it fits into the acetabulum of the coxa. Okay, and so that's just to bridge the gap. The pelvic girdle then has the limbs, the lower extremities, the lower appendages attached to it. Okay, so now let's look at the femur. What a big bone. I'm having to go away from you in order to get a look at it. We have to establish the front from the back. This is the front. You're looking at the front of the femur right now. This is the proximal end with the head on it. This is the distal end. And then this is the back of it. I always can tell the back because of this linea aspera. There's kind of a ridge that runs the whole. It's very smooth in the front. That's one way you can tell. The other way you can tell is there's a big fossa in the back, an intercondylar fossa in the back, and you have the ridge. You don't have that fossa in the front. You have a patellar groove, and it's smooth in the front. Okay, so let's look at it from the front. You have a greater trochanter. This is the head, I'm sorry. This is the head, okay? This is the head. Then back here is the neck. Back here is the neck. On the lateral side, you have what's called the greater trochanter. Okay, I kept wanting to get that in when I was talking about the humerus. There's a lot of similarities between the humerus and the femur. That's the greater trochanter, and this is the lesser trochanter. Okay, and what you see between the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter, they call that the intertrochanteric line. The intertrochanteric line. Okay, and then coming down, we don't see, it's smooth on the front, no grooves, no ridges, and then finally we come down here where we have a couple of condyles, epicondyles in fact, and remember this is the what? This is the medial side, so this is the medial condyle, and see this is the lateral side, so this is the lateral condyle, and then you have an intercondylar ridge, so you have lateral and medial. You can either call them condyles or epicondyles. The difference is the condyle's the surface, the epicondyle's the little bump on it. So see at the distal end you have what? You have this is the medial side, so that's the medial condyle or medial epicondyle, okay, and this is the lateral side, so that's the lateral condyle, or the bump on it's the lateral epicondyle, and this is the intercondylar ridge. Now when we turn it around, we again see the head, okay, then we see the neck, and then we see what? The greater trochanter, from the back. This is the lesser trochanter down here a little bit lower, and this is the intertrochanter ridge. It's a crest. It's called a crest, but it's a ridge and a crest are kind of the same thing. Then what we have is a pectineal line, which is right in here, and then after the pectineal line you have a little bump right here, which is the gluteal tuberosity. Then the main feature, and it shows up on test, the line down the back is called the linea aspera. The linea aspera. And then when you get down here, you have the medial condyle or medial epicondyle, and then you have the the lateral condyle or lateral epicondyle. Okay, and you have the intercondylar process down here. So that's the femur. This is the front without the linea aspera. This is the back with the linea aspera. The front, you can see the head, the greater trochanter, the lesser trochanter, the intertrochanter line. There's a line right there. Coming down here, you have the lateral condyle or epicondyle. You have the medial epicondyle, and then you have the intercondyle. It's also called the patellar groove, because the patella, the kneecap, fits into it. Then there's the back with the linea aspera. Again, you got the head, you got the neck, you got the greater trochanter, the lesser trochanter, the intertrochanter ridge. You've got the linea aspera, and then down on the bottom, you've got the medial condyle or medial epicondyle, and the lateral epicondyle, and then you have the intercondylar process. Okay, so that's a little bit about the femur. It's quite a big bone, isn't it? I use this for a weapon. There was a movie, I forget what it was. I think it was called 2001 Space Odyssey, where they were fighting over a water hole, and one of the guys saw a femur from an animal there, picked it up and used it as a club, and that was supposed to be a depiction of man first discovering how to use weapons. Okay. Now, when we come down from the femur, we're going to come down, oh yeah, I just had this one here to show you, because this shows you how, here's the femur. See, there's the acetabulum and the head of the femur in it, and here comes the femur. Down in that intercondylar ridge, or the patella fits in there. Okay, the patella fits right in the anterior distal end of the femur is where you'll find the patella. I put that in because it's the only place where I had the patella. And then you see this one right here shows you, this is a model that shows you how this is the distal end of the femur, how that fits into, this is the tibia bone right here, big bone, the shin bone, and then around on the side is the little fibula bone. See, the fibula bone is just for stabilization. So here we come down to the anterior femur. The distal end fits into the anterior proximal part of the tibia, and then the fibula is just a little bone lateral on the side for stabilization. Okay, so now we're going to look at the tibia and fibula. The first thing I want you to know is which bone is which. The tibia is the big bone. It's often called the shin bone, and the fibula is the smaller bone. A lot of times it gets broken, okay, because it's just there for stabilization. It's not a strong bone. And the fibula, the smaller bone, is always lateral, and the tibia is always medial. Okay, I'll say that again. The fibula is always lateral, and the tibia is always medial. Okay, so let's look at the tibia first. The tibia has a lateral condyle, that would be on this side where the fibula is, and a medial condyle. Okay, this has got a piece of metal on it because it used to be part of something else, but there's a little part that sticks up there and that's called the intercondylar eminence, E-M-I-N-E-N-C-E. Just means that it sticks up. So see, you've got a lateral condyle and a medial condyle, and then an intercondylar eminence. Okay, now here's an interesting thing. If you feel right underneath your kneecap up there, you got a big bump, and that's called the tibial tuberosity. Tibial tuberosity. Then you have kind of a crest or a ridge down here. That's called the anterior crest. The anterior crest. And when you get down here to the distal end, you have this. This is called the medial malleolus. Okay, that's this right here on the end of the fibula is going to be the lateral malleolus. See, because the fibula is always lateral. Okay, and so let's review that real fast. The big bone is the what? The tibia. You have the lateral condyle and the medial condyle, and then you have the intercondylar eminence. You have the tibial tuberosity, and down here you have the medial malleolus. Then the fibula, there's really not too much structure to it. It's got an expanded head. This is the head up here. And then down here on this end, as you see, it has the lateral malleolus. So that's the tibia and the fibula. That's in the crural area, the lower area of the leg. The femur is in the thigh area, the upper area. Okay, so now the next thing I want to show you is we go down from those two bones. The bigger bone is the what? The tibia. The smaller bone is the fibula. And they're going down into the ankle. See? They're going down into the ankle. And all the ankle bones are called tarsal bones. T-A-R-S-A-L-S. And the biggest tarsal bone, I pointed this out in a previous video, is this calcaneus. That's the heel bone. That's actually a tarsal bone. Okay. Then the bones in the foot itself are going to be what? These are the metatarsals here. Metatarsals. See? And the bones in the toes, you're going to look and you're going to see that there is a proximal phalange. See? Right there. Proximal. Let me get the pen so I can show you. Proximal phalange, middle phalange, distal phalange. See? Proximal phalange, medium, middle phalange, distal phalange. So you see that. And see, they're attached to the, what is this? This right here would be what? The medial malleolus. We just saw that. That would be the lateral malleolus coming off of the fibula, and the medial malleolus comes off of the tibia, going down into the tarsal bones. The biggest tarsal bone back here is the calcaneus or heel bone. Then we have what? The metatarsals. Let me turn it so you can see it. These are the metatarsals, the foot bones. And then the phalanges, a proximal, then a middle, and then a distal. Okay. So now you've seen all the bones of the appendicular skeleton. Of course, you have them on your right and left sides, the ones in the extremities. Okay. So study those bones and take care of yourself. And I'm not a robot.